You are back. Thanks for coming back. It's just in time for our next match, which has Clutch Gaming aiming to get the better of FlyQuest. Let's take a look at the starting rosters as we get right into this one. On the Azul side, it's Clutch Gaming. That means it's Huni in the top lane, Lira, Roman in the jungle, Damonte in mid, Cody Sun at bot, Vulcan in support with FLICKR, and Artemis at coach on stage.
And loading up on the red side, unless you have a fancy word for that. I've never heard these terms before. It's FlyQuest, Viper in the top lane, Santorin in the jungle, Pobelter mid, Turtle bot with Wadid as support, and coaches Invert and Cobb.
Rojo.
Well, we're going to talk later.
Red. While many people were doom and gloom on the FlyQuest season, the squad that finished top 4 last split picked up a huge win over Cloud9, which has kept their playoff dreams alive.
Yeah, and given the fact that Clutch is close to them in the standings, the chance of an unprecedented run to playoffs is within the realm of possibility, especially given that their next 2 opponents are TSM, who hasn't looked good, and Echo Fox, who also hasn't looked good. So if FlyQuest wants to string together a 3-0 to complete the split and then get a little bit of help, they will need WildTurtle and Santorin to specifically put up the kind of performances that we saw from them yesterday.
Yes, they do. Meanwhile, Clutch are still hunting for a playoff spot of their own, as they do continue to perform as the line for this playoff race.
Yeah, and as we get into Champ Select, let's not forget about Clutch's consistency. They're actually 0-8 versus the top 4 teams, which then makes them 6-1 against everybody else.
And FlyQuest is?
They're not top 4.
They're not.
So it's one of the teams that they are 6-1 against, and also 1-0 against them so far. So statistically, you could say Clutch has a good chance of winning this game. And additionally, none of their remaining opponents are top 4 teams. So that really tight playoff race we have down at the bottom with Optic and Golden Guardians and 100 Thieves, you got to include Clutch, especially if they win today.
It's absolutely crazy. And we kind of even heard Viper talking about it too, saying, hey, there's things we need to win right now, and we didn't think we could before. Everybody kind of in control of their own destiny with hopes to get these victories here. Let's see what the bans are. I love the intro. Made me think of Azure. I remember how much you love that word. Azure game.
Is that just another word for blue? What do you...
Azul? Yeah. It's a Spanish word.
It's a Spanish word for blue. Yeah. Okay. Did you take Spanish in high school?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Huh. All right. Need to learn more languages.
Got it.
Junglers picked. No surprises so far. Looking at the bans, trying to catch up a little bit, the only thing that would stand out would be Skarner. That's generally Lyra's most successful champion, so can't fault that ban too badly. Interesting to see that Karma completely falls through. I know that Viper did play a Karma game, did not have that much success. Also, even though Huni can dominate lane with it, doesn't seem to do much after that. So really, the fact that Irelia Sejuani did go to FlyQuest is a little shocking. You almost never see those two get to go together.
This was played previously. As they played, we saw, I believe, a Silas and an Akali on the side of Clutch, and Damonte went top lane as Huni went mid lane. And I feel like Silas is a very Huni champion, if we do get to see that, which is banned. But the Irelia was played up against where that Silas was followed. I think Viper came back down into the mid lane to face off against Huni. So could see that again.
Wouldn't be too surprised if we did see some lane swaps, especially with Akali getting picked here. That could either be a Huni or a Damonte champion.
Ooh!
Alistar! Woo. So
pick him, get more mana. He's right in.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've actually seen Alistar. He did get some very small buffs in patch 9.14, but just nice little nudges to let you think about the champion again. It seems like FlyQuest has thought about him a little bit, decided it's worthy of locking in before the second ban phase.
For sure. It's usually, that's a Braum there instead of an Alistar with Sejuani. So now you get Ali. We'll see how he fits in. Can still be a Bash brother. Yeah,
pretty good against Sivir because it's basically impossible for Sivir to spell shield WQ.
Yeah, you're always there. I like it. Let's see. You can also headbutt a Jarvan out of his Cataclysm. Get some good situations. All very conditional. You got to be fast with your fingers to hit these things we are talking about. Final ban here from the side of FlyQuest on Phase 2. Phase 1 picks went pretty quick. They knew what they wanted, and they left up quite a bit for each other, too, to test that. 7 seconds. Artemis on your screen. A recent slot in here as McScrag is no longer with the team, and we will get a Braum, a ban. So they won't be playing against it either from the side of FlyQuest.
Yeah, trying to pinch Vulcan's support pool a little bit. down the stretch here. I do wonder also if we're going to get to see Damonte's Kiana, because that's actually, he popped off with it early on, right after it was released, and then everyone just kind of banded against him for a while.
First week it came out, he's like, oh, Damonte's in Academy. Oh, he's playing Kiana.
Oh, interesting. He's getting some stage experience with the new pick. How clever.
And then he gets like, what, a quadra kill in the Baron Pit, I believe, or some big kill. But yeah, he definitely feels comfortable on the Kiana. Not banned against him. We'll see last 2 picks here for Clutch Gaming. At 6 and 9, very much within reach to get to that playoff position with 3 games left here in Week 8 and 2 more in Week 9.
Ooh, I think that's going to be the top lane Tristana for Viper, opening up Pobelter's Irelia. But you could move them all around. You never know. Trist could go bot lane, shockingly.
Nautilus. I think they're expecting to put, or maybe not. That's total speculation. I was going to say put that against Huni to try and throw him off. But they still need something big pick on the other side that would slot in for where that marksman would go. Azir gets locked in.
Okay.
Let's see. Maybe they try the Swain.
Yeah.
Swain Alistar.
As was demonstrated by Broken Blade on TSM, you can play Azir in the top lane. I think it would actually do decent if it did go against Tristana, but what are we really going to see from FlyQuest here? Is it just Trist Alistar bot lane? And it was all a ruse? What are you doing, guys? Okay, it's probably Trist bot lane.
Up to snuff.
Probably.
It is going to be the Corki. So we'll see if the swap around happens. Viper would get Irelia. They may try to get a little funky with those lanes either way to get a better matchup for themselves, but I'm sure the way they stand, I think they're happy with them.
Yeah, because the Irelia Sejuani is such a good 2v2, I don't think this would happen, but it would technically be possible to throw the Irelia bottom lane. We actually saw Clutch do this a bunch in the spring split when Piglet was starting down there, but I think what we're seeing now is the standard stuff that is likely going to be locked in as we go to 20 seconds, and yes.
And it just turns out that the Akali played last week allowed Clutch to say, hey, that could be a flex, but Huni still plays it. So we're not going to move it around with where Damonte goes, but it is going to be in hands of Huni for the first time Summer Split. We all know Huni can play those kind of in and out assassin champions, so we should see him trying to make plays on the Akali.
Yeah, and they banned the Rumble, which I'm actually happy to see that happen. Huni is a very good Rumble player, but I like him having a little bit more agency on solo killing people. So many times you'll see him trying to flank on Rumble and just trying to get as much damage down as possible, but Akali actually has some of that solo kill potential.
Now can be seen out. I don't think we got any tethers in this game that we missed that would see her, but True Sight will find Akali in the Shroud, no longer extended as well by autos, so you have to be very technical when you get into your invisibility mode within that Shroud to do as much damage as you can. We are about to get into the match. It is Clutch Gaming versus FlyQuest, and we are on to the Rift. Big tanky supports. Should get some fights in the early game if it's not just Cody Sun fighting against the waves. WildTurtle farm it out. It actually is kind of nice to have a Sivir against a Trist. If you get Trist to her turret, she's always innately pushing, so it makes it a little harder for her to farm.
Yeah, definitely looking for an aggressive bottom lane phase with the press the attack Tristana. It is something that WildTurtle has played a lot of throughout his history in the LCS, obviously being an 80 carry basically since the beginning.
And we will see a little bit more about FlyQuest as we have a sideline report with Obeli and Invert.
Thanks, Riv. Invert, I spoke with some of your players yesterday, and it seemed like the focus for FlyQuest was on Gauntlet rather than on your remaining games to try to clutch playoffs. So with that being said, how do you view this game?
We're taking every game as is. If we make playoffs, that's great. But for us, the long-term goal and kind of silver lining is making Gauntlet. So we're making sure we're showing our best performance on stage in preparation for that so that we can actually perform on stage when it comes to those really high-pressure matches for Worlds qualification.
So then with that being said, how are you maybe using these games as preparation? I see Wadid is breaking out the Alistar, another champion to kind of expand his pool.
Yeah, so we're expanding the pools a bit. That was a huge focus for this week. But as well, Alistar is just really good into Sivir because you can break the spell shield with the combo and still be able to get a good engage off. So we thought it was a good pick, and we figured they'd have high Sivir priority, so we leaned into that.
Invert, thank you, and best of luck to you. Back to you guys.
Yeah, I like the focus that FlyQuest is putting on the grand prize for them, which would be the qualification for Worlds. As mentioned, they do have the points from finishing top 4 in the spring split and a very early flash backwards from WildTurtle, but that's because Lira did path down for the early level 2 gank, and if that hook landed, it was likely WildTurtle was going to die.
It's not a life of starting rocket jump anymore. Many seasons.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the E causes that flash. Not the worst for Trist, as she does have rocket jump, so just a few more levels, but that is something that can be tacked on by the bot lane of Cody Sun and Vulcan. Talking a little bit about Turtle, I think most of the plays I remember from Turtle that are the craziest are in the Tristana. Resetting over the wall into a base to fight the team by himself, the Raptor pit fight where he gets a triple kill to put the team in playoffs, and even further in those types of games.
Yeah.
He usually steps up.
I actually remember your call, Riv. It was Turtle on the triple, Turtle on the quadra. That was the 2014 Summer Finals Game 5, WildTurtle on Tristana, TSM versus C9. Go watch that if you haven't seen it.
So good.
If you're one of the newer LCS watchers, get a big splash of nostalgia watching the end of that series.
It is crazy. See how they play it out on this one. The Tristana back in the hands of WildTurtle. We'll see if he can bring those memories back for us as well. 5K gold as it would be across the board with no pressure really to anything that came up with a kill just yet. You do have that flash down on the bot side as Damonte gets pushed in on his Azir that he'll likely be looking to get that up into the late game with.
Yeah, and watching the top lane as well, Huni going to be playing this very aggressive as he basically seems to do. It's definitely been an off year for Huni, but if he can get the 2v2 actually going, it can be good. It's very hard to fight these guys 2v2. Lira is there before Santorin, though.
Whoa, buddy. Into the turret. Nice Arctic Assault to bring Huni over the wall. 200 health for Santorin. This is also very big for Lira, having eyes on where and that Santorin has to go back.
Yeah, I mean, Santorin had done the power farm to level 4, so had the level advantage, but because Viper wasn't in position to assist, he still gets pulled in over the wall. Kind of a crazy play there by Huni, flying into the turret, but not ending up to take that much damage.
Back and forth. You take the E. Always is quite a big minion wave there. It might have been ill-advised, but he does have Electrocute just proc. He holds off for now to get another one of those down. Conqueror on Viper as he's looking for those late game long extended fights. We can start dishing out that big damage. A push up here for FlyQuest makes them feel just comfortable enough to say, I'm going to protect against Lira one more time. Half cooldown on Turtle's flash as we continue this laning phase. No pressure really from Santorin other than the counter gank top, but now he's trying to get his hands in the pie of Lira.
Yeah, absolutely. The efficiency of Santorin's jungle pathing, not something that necessarily talked about that much. It definitely can hurt him where he puts such a high priority on getting jungle experience, because that often makes you feel like he's invisible or hasn't ganked enough.
Yep.
But Santorin, very good at maximizing his experience, especially 1 through 6.
Always does a very good job in the lead as well. I remember some of the Trundle games, he kind of just takes over and you're like, wait, where did that Santorin come from? I'm not used to that. When he does hit his stride, he keeps it going. Viper adding that pressure to Huni. It's always a bit different once the waves start to sway back against an opponent. And Viper's been able to use that pressure now to get Huni to go back. Teleports will be used back to lane as Viper's was during their gank. We'll see how they fare once they get back with items.
Yep, that's the ebb and flow of the lane. Viper had gone back for the early double longsword, also utilizing the wave tree very well. Gonna try and shove in this cannon wave.
I like the bait.
Kind of trapped him in ult. He does have ult though.
You haven't really had a chance for Huni to kind of telegraph the fact that a gank is coming. But whoa, Viper going under the turret here. He tries to get it and he does get a kill for himself, but he has to go down with that turret ramping up. A very aggressive play from Viper.
Woo! When Irelia is level 6, it is one of the most devastating laners, oftentimes can turn around those 1v2s, and that's kind of exactly what happened there. But Turtle,
a mismatch back. What are we looking for? Where is Wadid? He's actually on the roam, and Turtle gets himself in a lot of trouble just before that flash comes back up.
A huge all-in there by the clutch bottom lane, not giving Turtle a chance to respond. It would have to go back about 10 or 15 seconds to see if he saw a faked recall, but we're going to watch this one more time. Critically, Viper actually stacks not only his Irelia passive up to max, but also gets his Conqueror to full stack. So heals a bunch off of that R, actually. Ends up allowing him to take one
that minion.
full turret shot. And did he auto a minion there?
It looks like that minion has
kill?
damage on it for an auto. We'll see how this happens.
So Turtle sees Cody Sun backing away, makes the assumption that Vulcan had also recalled or was roaming. Sometimes assumptions are right. Not this time. WildTurtle goes down.
That one he made a fool of himself only.
Yeah.
No participants required. Huni to clean up a nice wave here, 53 to 48. That will put him over the CS of Viper, but there's no big discrepancy there. You're going to see big fights out of both of those players. As the team match finished up, Viper will always push that in. Turn back into the mid lane. Damonte is able to get these soldiers running now as he gets his Nashor's Tooth built up from that stinger. Keeping his lane safe. Just 9 CS behind right now, but he's cleaning that up as well. A lot of pressure has been brought down to the bottom lane. It seems like there's a few early game mishaps for FlyQuest that could have stopped a lot of this aggression. Flawless duet, now used again. They stun up onto Huni. Lira's to the back line. Viper takes quite a bit of damage. He is not going to have his ult back just yet. A great time from Clutch. And they almost go down, but they pick up the first kill of this one. Now slowed is Lira, but he could get the flag and drag back in to keep Santorin in range. Huni comes in, looks for that Arctic Assault back to possibly kill Huni, but he's just playing with it. And he gets the kill onto Santorin as they go 2-0-1 for Huni in the top lane.
Set in champ select, looking forward to seeing if Huni can get going on this Akali. Some very close fights in the top lane, but specifically that 2-4-0 have the potential to catapult Huni ahead of Viper. And watching this one more time, it's the fact that Clutch gets there first. They actually get a lot of damage out before Santorin can even become involved. And even though the Irelia Sejuani is a devastating 2v2, if they're starting every fight with Viper at 10% health, they're just not going to win. And once Lira is able to kind of chase Santorin down with this red buff, watch the E connect from Huni, making sure he walks all the way through the minions. That damage on E1 and E2 is actually up substantially on patch 9.14, so being able to use that at the end of the combo, very important and very successful for Huni.
Feels good now. So having a bit of those, kind of reminding me, reading the patch notes of the old Akali passive, where you're actually hybriding more of the AP and AD, and you get a bit of those now, and it feels good to have that extra damage added on. You can see Huni now feeling pretty great. 8-8 still on the top side, so he hasn't been able to grab a level discrepancy just yet. Seems like everybody's keeping around that clip at this point. Mountain Drake is up. It's starting to draw a little bit of attention. This is actually when we saw Turtle go down before. Now it gets a bit more attention from FlyQuest to see if they can pulse Clutch Gaming around.
Yeah, they've been able to shove in that bottom lane fairly consistently. I think Cody Sun putting a lot of respect into the Alistar, Tristana all-in potential, and the fact that the junglers have basically both been living in the top lane means it's an isolated 2v2 and neither team really making that aggressive of a play. But because of the wave pressure, because Turtle's actually alive, they're able to get the trick.
They might get a little bit more attention for the next one is Ocean.
Oh yeah.
On the Rift. Good forward wards here. You can see just how much FlyQuest actually wanted to get that and just have a pace of the game to themselves. So much vision around the Drake as they go back to kind of reset into lane. They're very happy with that movement, having lost quite a few members around the map. Feels good to be able to skirt around Clutch Gaming for a moment. Still, obviously, you have 10 minutes on Baron, but that means Rift Herald is up. They do start getting a little hungry for another objective. Wave that's quite big going into Viper's turret here for him to clean up and no gank pressure.
Yeah, so much of the game's vision has actually moved down to the bottom lane. Surprising the Clutch has so much bottom lane vision, but did not control the Drake whatsoever, so a lot of that vision ends up actually maybe going a little bit to waste, but as you just talked about, the Rift Herald has been started by Lira.
And this is a good sign for Clutch. I mean, in a situation where we're kind of talking about CLG showing a variety, not holding back, feeling confident, is 2 players on the team now showing that they can have carry potential on Akali. That's a band you're definitely going to grab out of a team if they don't want to face it in a playoff situation. Huni now having a great game here. A fight's going to start. A perfect time for him and his power spike. And if he can get into this one and start cutting people up, it's going to be huge. Stopwatch goes on to Vulcan. A little bit of focus still on that Rift Herald. Who's going to get it? Oh, it's given over to Santorin. They say thank you very much. Now they have about 40 seconds to grab that eye. Who can get over the wall to make it happen? As Clutch is going to play a little quarantine on the river area now. I don't know if they're going to let it get in. Wadid says, don't worry, guys. I'll be able to walk in. They'll never grab the bull by the horns, and they are correct. FlyQuest walk out with the Herald.
Yeah, thought maybe we were going to see a bit of defense there, but then Vulcan, who'd already used a stopwatch and had 10% health, said, guys, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Just give it over. Nice steal by Santorin, and good job by FlyQuest to not have any casualties in going for that steal.
Pressure put on to Clutch now. Not too much that'll change the game until Herald is used, and we'll see where those plates go. Huni even backed off that first plate to kind of keep pace in the lane. He wanted to get back, wanted to farm, didn't worry about it. So we've seen his intentions kind of be like, I want to get back, I have my items, right back to fighting with Viper. Looks like that's what he's going to do. Should be able to walk back here and save TP as it's pushed all the way up.
Yeah, Gunblade up means even more kill pressure for the Akali. Need to pay a little bit more attention to Huni in team fights. Make sure he's getting as many passive procs as possible, because that's definitely one thing that separates the really good Akalis from the people that just play it a little bit of the time, because so much of the damage and the energy refunds are whether or not you're actually proccing your passive over and over again, which is a ring that Akali gets to see. You got to back out of it, back into it,
right,
to get the bonus damage over and over again.
Swing your comment.
Rift Herald mid, FlyQuest trying to stay away from Huni's Akali.
Down to 2 plates off of this one, or 1 plate I should say, 2 plates gone.
Oh, they get Pobelter.
Vulcan not looking good either. Pobelter's going to go down as it's a 1-for-1 retribution. Shelly's going to go down in the mid lane as FlyQuest pull off of that. So not a full protection. They lose a member on the side of Clutch, but they can't push down the mid fully. Are you just going to pop him? Yeah, they're just playing. He knows the lane's resetting. Teleport's there if he does need to get back to lane anytime fast. And Huni's looking to keep it very pushed up.
What a strange series of events in the mid lane right there. Is basically both teams are probably just talking about who they're going to be going for a kill on at the same time. It's just one guy got left behind on both teams. Pobelter gets 2v1, and then Vulcan as well gets caught down at the bottom. Watching this again, you can see FlyQuest setting up the play. Pobelter's just... yeah, absolutely. Pobelter gets caught as the rest of his team is going for it. The bait worked for both teams, technically, and they both have a casualty.
That's definitely a team.
Yeah.
Team.
It's like, yeah, we got the kill. But guys,
you were right there. Clean up on the bot side. 4-3 in plates as 14 passes. On the clock, 40 seconds for that Drake of Oceanness, and it's going to be warded out here. Wadid gets one over the wall and one on each side of the Drake. They have a trifecta set up for good vision. Can they protect it against Clutch Gaming here? I feel like once you set it up and you leave a lull in that area, the other team has a chance to set theirs up, make it easy, and then the fight happens when you're looking for vision that you just lost.
Still, despite the 5 kills to 2 kill lead, the gold is still extremely close. So the game could definitely swing on this Ocean Drake. An important power spike for Huni getting level 11 on Akali. Doesn't have teleport though. So maybe they will just continue to isolate up in that top side. And without Huni in the fight, gold is basically even between the teams. Here he comes, though. He's slowly making his way down through wards.
Dun, 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 dun. Here's that ward vision I was talking about. He set it up early. Drake has still a little bit to spawn, and Clutch says, we'll walk these wards out along with Ocean Drake, and that's their first scrap with another mountain now on the docket. Huni back to top, didn't need to do too much. We were talking about this with Crumbs and Academy, and it's cool to see teams do much more like a baseball shift. Is mid goes to bot, top's going to go to mid, you kind of cover the base that was left open. It's awesome to see players do that and continue to push lanes and know what needs to happen as you're organizing around the map.
Yeah, in baseball, it is often called rotations.
There it is.
That was a league term for many years. It was very commonly used. We, for some reason, just started calling it map movements or shifts. Because any of those things could be the case. But yeah, it is absolutely kind of the same way you would see it in a baseball game. If any of the newfangled kids know America's pastime of baseball. But yeah, if the second baseman moves, then oftentimes the shortstop will go over and cover, and that's exactly what happens in League. If the mid laner moves, sometimes the jungler will go and cover. It's just to make sure you always have someone where they need to be. But a lot of communication is required to do that properly.
Absolutely. It can't be an afterthought. Everybody has to be moving at the same time, and that's what's happening here with Clutch. FlyQuest, the afterthought, getting in, trying to defend. Turtle hasn't even fired one shot as his first one is an explosive over onto the jungler. Lira goes down, and they have found it. Now, WildTurtle has a reset. They can get the safety. and they weren't able to stop the dragon fight that happened, but they do come up with a kill for Wadid as they get out.
Yeah, so many little explosive fights where one person dies on each side is keeping the game very tense. But as the fallout happens from this one, even though it was support for jungler, it does seem like Clutch has a little bit of the map pressure temporarily, but they decide not to push any advantage.
Here it is one more time. Just the wards. 4 hits on a wards. I'll take it down.
Yeah, good timing on the stopwatch by Santorin to buy time, but Wadid kind of already in there to play a little bit of a disruptor. Ends up being that Jarvan, while going for the kill, ends up eating the Sejuani ult, and Wadid takes one for the team.
First outer layer of turrets getting pretty peppered on the side of FlyQuest. Mid looking hurt. Bottom is pretty cut up right now. They just can't get pressure on a Tristana. So that may not be the one to look at just yet. Yes, you get a dive. Huni's gonna have that first turret of the game to himself in a 2-0-1 lane. Feeling fantastic there, as well as having 2,000 gold in his pocket right now to go home and spend.
Yeah, waiting to see how he can end up getting involved in this game. It's always hard to play Assassins against Sejuani because if you go into a fight with 3 melee champions on FlyQuest, they can stack up that Sejuani stun so quickly. It's really going to be on Huni to position and find the right moments. It's going to be made a little easier by the fact that the rest of Clutch has a fairly standard team fighting composition. There is a brush bait being set up here by Cody Sun. Wondering if someone's going to jump on him. Wadid has Sejuani near.
Small movement here by Damonte as well. I want to see if he figures out where kind of Pobelter's going or he's making Pobelter move. They just go for Wraiths though. Nothing real tricky on either side. They know they stay mid, but you're right. No fight comes out of that, but teams are tempting each other now. We're getting core items on each side. Infinity Edge for Turtle after a few kills. Essence Reaver for Cody Sun. And they'd love to get a few of these hits down with their new DPS in the inventory.
Yeah, Cody Sun and Azir, the very, very strong DPS champions.
Oh yeah.
2 of the best wave clear champions in all of League of Legends. So it's going to be hard for FlyQuest to get wave party, keeping that in mind.
Another turret. This actually spells very good things. The fact that they can kind of mobilize around the map. See now, Huni has gone mid. He was just top. There's that rotation as the team flexes down towards the bot lane. Now Pobelter doesn't have a turret. He can just attack. He is forced to clear a wave. Now Huni can go back top and clear it. This guy is omnipresent today with that teleport being down. He just kind of has the timing in his favor, and that's going to feel good. Around the map, CG coming out of base. We'll see where else they put this priority. It looks like mid lane's really the only place to go with that turret up.
Yeah, second Mountain Drake coming as well, but you get the position for that by pushing up mid, and that's where Damonte is in a very healthy spot. Hasn't really been poked down by Pobelter whatsoever. Pobelter, unfortunately for him, kind of back on the Corki's ear that he tweets about, despite having such a great Yasuo game yesterday.
Unkilled in that game. A true Blade Master. I wonder how much more they could flex on things. Obviously, Corki's a really good pick right now, but we know his old comfortability on Victor. And maybe he's not comfortable on Victor anymore, but we remember what they did in the finals 3 games in a row with things like that. That kind of thing's always wishful thinking, but you know there's awesome champions that he can put into that wheelhouse, or have in that wheelhouse. Here is the temptation for a Mountain Drake. Teleport finally comes in for Huni. He's had that up for quite a while now, just waiting for the right time to use it. He lands in a bed of wards that FlyQuest can see him on, so we'll see if he actually has an entry. A lot of damage going over the side of FlyQuest. Pobelter's almost dead right away as he flashes out of the situation. A great hit and a slow onto the team of Clutch Gaming. Remember, it's not a disarm as Viper tries to go in. He's still got to deal with the damage coming right back at him, and he can't do it alone, but he's left alone as the rest of FlyQuest have to fly home.
It looks so good for so long in that fight for FlyQuest until Viper overcommits after FlyQuest had made the retreat over the wall. As you mentioned, Huni kind of teleported in and then just waited for the fight to start. I'm still a little surprised that Clutch won that because I was tracking mostly Huni throughout the fight and he did not get much success off. It actually looked like Viper was the one doing more work, yet when you look up, It's Viper who is looking at the death timer as well as
Yeah.
Wadid, and that's a 2 for 0 for Clutch Gaming.
I think we can keep an eye maybe on where the ricochets were going in this fight, what
Yeah.
the soldiers were stabbing on this one.
Exactly, Akali was a big distraction here, and a lot of the damage was likely coming from the Sivir and the Azir. Seeing it right as Huni is getting engaged on.
Ooh.
Let's just assume that it was the Azir and the Corki
Sounds good.
that did most of the damage.
I like it. And yeah, Huni, you can see him kind of creating a little trouble on the top side. That was Santorin trying to go in for a gank, but he gets out. It's an elusive assassin. And Huni knows how to play with his opponents more than most, and how much actual strength he has during any situation. He'll stretch that to the most as he goes back to the top side to keep this push going. It looks like he'll meet Pobelter a little more often than not now as Turtle gets out. I think that would have been a 1 by Vulcan there as the rocket jump was already buffered. It would have been brought back.
Yeah, you got to be very careful with that timing on the rocket jump. But really, after the dust settled from that Drake fight, Clutch looks like they're in pretty good control. 4,000 gold lead. We know that if the team they are playing is not C9, TL, COG, or TSM, they're 6-1. So still looking to maintain that consistency of beating up on the bottom 6 teams, which they are one of them, right? But they're very good against those opponents.
Ooh, the flash stretch line, and that is going to be Viper down immediately. This actually opens up the map quite a bit. When you're down to second tiers, a lot of movement can be made. That next turret's very close, and so is the minion wave for Clutch.
Yeah, those aggressive plays paying off for Clutch Gaming when they send everyone up top lane. And by the way, the waves are still in pretty good position.
Yeah.
Damonte brings this middle wave up to the turret, and they're just, at the moment, sacking the bot turret. But they could even spend a teleport and still save that one, keeping all their turrets up if they want to. Pobelter actually has to back away.
He's not going to take. He doesn't know who's coming down river. How
No vision.
fast? That is unfortunate. Yeah, we said they've been moving the vision around, but FlyQuest has had to move so quick, they didn't have a chance to place anything in that bottom side. It's all kind of off the cuff right now, and that makes it chaotic. They still have to meet Clutch Gaming in front of their base, but Clutch is now pushing forward ever so strong, and it's hard to stop this team. Solo lanes both at 3-0-1, with the Marksman and Cody Sun at 2-0-2.
Yeah, and if we think about the team comps from a high level, very similar. You have the skirmishing, flanking top laner. You have the tank jungler. You have the AoE damage pushing mid.
Yep.
Magic damage. And then you have your well-scaling AD carry with tank support. So the fact that Clutch is a 5,000 gold lead when the compositions match up the same way can often be seen as a even bigger lead, just because of the fact that the team comps really just bash into each other head-to-head. It's not to say a comeback would be impossible, it's just that FlyQuest would have to find a very advantaged fight.
This Ocean Drake, I don't even think will be tempted by FlyQuest. It's on the wrong side of the map for them at this point. Clutch has been living in their jungle. They're going to put Damonte towards the bottom side. Now teleport is up for him, but as well as Pobelter. Looks like Pobelter heads back to base right quick. He will get back out with the team. He does have package on this time, so it's going to be a bit bigger if they try to make a play. Whoa. Very strong in their agreement to move forward, whether it's a good idea or not. But if they're all there, it's going to be a better decision than everybody dispersing out of the play. Here we are, wards just on the other side of the wall. The vision is 3 inches apart that they're actually fog of war and being able to see here, and they can only move so slowly to get to the next few inches. Viper has been the guy they've tagged on. If you go to the one that can teleport to the fight, sometimes it makes it a little easier to close down that map, and he says it's a little too quiet around the rest of the map, so he'll hide himself for a bit.
Yeah, you do have to be careful, both as Irelia, but also as the person who's trying to gank Irelia. Even at 1 and 4, with high CS, Viper has the potential to turn around 1v2 if he plays it just right. It's going to be about this Baron setup and whether or not Clutch Gaming can either sneak it or get a pick. Huni, though, spending some extra time on this pick.
Sometimes your toughest opponent isn't your opponent, chat. It's one of the jungle camps.
It's the frustration bar on the blue buff. Please don't do it again. He's pulling it back.
There we go, right in range.
There we go. One more Q. There we go. Woo!
And we'll get a replay of that in a second. No, I'm just kidding.
May as well. No, Ocean Drake is coming up right about now. Lira are
Baron?
start.
No. It looks like they were heading up there quick. They want to just set up positioning and use this time to ward. Ocean Drake for clutch, though, means they can stay and play a little bit more for these fights that are happening on the map. And that will help them achieve kind of their goal. We heard Huni talking about the last game they won. In his interview, he said, why can't we just end the game? And a lot of times Clutch will have that moment where they're just hitting a brick wall once they get to their opponent's base. We'll see if they can actually put that one into play this time and get a good ending out of this.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time it's because they haven't necessarily picked team comps that have engage tools, right? Huni plays 6 games of Rumble. Damonte plays a bunch of mid lane assassins. They've been experimenting with all this different stuff. It's interesting that here they actually do have the tools to close out the game fairly well. 2 good tank initiators, tons of DPS, a guy who can generate solo kills, and they're ending up playing it out kind of standard, just trying to do the little Baron dance right now.
Does look good. You have the server to clear the waves. No need to do anything crazy if those waves aren't at your enemy's base. So here it's just soft pushing and waiting for FlyQuest to make the wrong move. It's great, actually, that they have Alistar and Sej, 2 tanky members, because it's coming to a point where you have to face check, and those are the 2 that are going to need to be doing it. Pobelter, even in between everyone, pinned out for a bit of damage there. You can see how hard it is for them to just move around.
Yeah, it really is, but they are staying alive in the game. They've chosen the goal lead around 6,000, making it difficult on Clutch Gaming to get something. Huni's a little low on energy. He can't actually take the fight, but is able to take the blue.
When it's harder, it becomes easier for him. It's a
practice.
Backwards complex. Yeah, he had practice. Very quick practice. We'll have a bit more in 5 more minutes as well around the map. As the standard goes down, Clutch Gaming looks again to put down their awards. The security system in the side of FlyQuest Jungle, who are slowly getting strangled out. We haven't even talked too much about the Azir Sun Disc that's being put down with Clutch being able to push forward. They get to set up base right outside on any of those down turrets. And now they tempt Baron. Vulcan's gonna be the meat wall.
That was fast. Here's Huni though, the flank.
Oh, I think they know he's there. They maybe saw TP from the bot side. He says, blast cone away, thank you. It does not go for Mission Impossible on that, but it's only a matter of time now. Let's see how Clutch sets up a push now with the Baron minions.
Yeah, really nicely done to be able to get that Baron though. No chance of a steal. They bounced Santorin out of the pit before he'd have a chance for it. And then even if he would have gone in for a 50-50, they were well positioned to take the fight because they didn't take any damage while doing Baron. Also looking at Cody Sun, he's really farmed in this game. That's a 100% crit Sivir right now. So those
got 2K more than Huni right now.
Yeah, he is really farmed. And it's taken a little bit of the CS away from his soul laners, but with just how strong Sivir actually does scale, he's hitting the fabled 500 CS Sivir win condition, 6-item Sivir, pretty early on.
It's like a 1v1 condition, 100 CS. Once he hits 500, all the minions popping in the game. That's it. We'll see if he can get there. It'll be quite a treat. He's only 4 away from 400 this game, even a number we don't see very often in any game. As Wadid goes in, oh boy, this looks like it was kind of a go for broke. They had the TPs coming in the back, the package goes through, but that is Pobelter going down as nobody else can get over the wall that fast. Viper does come in for a very nice kill, and Clutch definitely has to reassess this fight. Huni, in the meanwhile situation, taking down the top inhibitor turret for himself. And now he's gonna be able to go for that next objective. And they cannot take it down with the amount of time that FlyQuest has given him.
You can see why FlyQuest went for it, though. Huni's pushing top lane without teleport, so they saw an opportunity to try and get a big win. They do actually get a 1 for 2, but it cost them likely this inhibitor. Right there.
Almost. Never.
Quite as much damage on
Cannons were knocked down a little bit when you were gone, chat. It's cool. You're back, though. Infernal Drake coming out in 50 seconds. Again, something that Clutch just picks up his resources on the map here as we see what the engage was. So wards are being placed down these lanes just for late game plays. FlyQuest is keeping their options open, but the windows they work with are small.
Yeah, double TP onto that ward. But the package takes Pobelter all the way into the danger zone, which is the rest of Clutch Gaming. Cody Sun was out of there. He wasn't even thinking about the fight. By the time Pobelter goes down, he's basically in the river. So Clutch Gaming not even really trying to turn that one fully around.
It's out of control. It's crazy. Can't be flying like that. 32 minutes on the clock. We'll see now as they push into the base. Top lane's going to be pushing itself. That means Huni's bringing in the mid lane. A fantastic game on this Akali. Like we said, the Akali was played by Damonte in their previous game. Just flexed around this one to have a bit of fun in champion select and throw off their opponent. And doesn't seem to be doing any worse in the hands of the top laner for Clutch now. They have quite a lead stepping up to the door of the last 2 inhibitor turrets.
Yep, 17 seconds left on this Baron, but another fight goes in for FlyQuest.
Once again, it's going to be Santorin in first. He's actually, or Wadid rather, staying quite alive
Damonte
with that will on. Lira gets himself to the back line, and now Cataclysm out of Santorin, one of the tankiest members. Pobelter can't find the targets to keep hitting one after the other. They have to keep changing and switching, which isn't allowing that damage to stick on the priority targets that they want. And now Huni goes to the mid lane with the rest of the team attacking the bot side.
Oh.
Here's a kill coming up from Pobelter, misses the missile going through the shroud, and it looks like he stays alive. That is Huni. As they go for more across the map, Clutch Gaming is ever so slowly making more marks onto the base of FlyQuest, but not finishing yet.
Yeah, getting a little tense there as they felt slightly out of sorts towards the end, but if you just look at the total map destruction,
Right.
it'll look like mission accomplished for Clutch, even if there are a few more casualties along the way. Watching this one more time, FlyQuest is successfully getting Damonte. Watch this accuracy there from Santorin, killing him in the CC before he has a chance to shuffle out of there. But then there's still a really fed Sivir, so another high source of DPS is able to lock down the Sejuani, and because there were super minions coming from the top side and Baron minions coming from the bot side, the fact that that fight even took 20 seconds was enough time for Clutch to destroy Build.
Now is the time that that game needs to end. Huni asks, why can't we? We'll see from here on out if that starts to be true again. They finally have the base broken. The last few engages could have been the Nexus, but it seems like Clutch is playing it ever so patiently as they take more and more. Wadid in the perfect spot.
Yeah.
He's got himself swept.
He's going to want to Hex Flash over that wall and then try and get a flank onto Cody Sun or Damonte. He holds off on that, but he can keep trying.
He wants to get vision on at least Cody Sun.
Yeah, he wants to make sure he doesn't then just get collapsed on, so he wants Clutch to commit a little bit first. It's a last-ditch effort.
It would be now if he goes over the wall. If he's still there, the ward gets seen out on the right side by vision of the pink ward. But we still don't have eyes on Wadid.
He is.
Oh, the flag coming in from Lira.
And he's found.
Absolutely ridiculous. The team's going to turn around. They are on the hunt for some beef. And Wadid is in a real bad spot. Pobelter trying to fire over the wall if he can do the damage necessary to turn this one around, but they can't find the targets as the vision is also denied for that fight. And now Clutch have their eyes on the prize.
Being a secret agent is a very dangerous job. That's the downsides that people don't tell you about in most spy movies. Those are only the successful stories. This is more like what it's probably like. Wadid making that attempt, mercilessly getting killed by everyone who very clearly saw him after they Hex-flashed over the wall.
Going for the real life Wadab on Clutch Gaming.
Oh, man.
Did not work out. Now it's going to be Baron here coming in for CG Squad. It's going to be a hell of a steal if Santorin can make it. The damage is going down too much, and they're just kind of trying to clear out wards in the jungle of FlyQuest. Clutch, really strong right now, and nothing should stop them on their way to the Nexus.
Yeah, Cody Sun, get rid of those pesky boots. What's he going to grab? More boots. Just a different kind.
I like it.
Ninja Tabi, to make sure he doesn't get one-shot by the Corki or the Trist, since he has enough attack speed from his lethal tempo and double zeal items. Here we go. This could set up that final push, Riv.
Stopwatch plays for Pobelter and Viper. Keep an eye on those. I'm only seeing one for Damonte, and that's a used in Vulcan's inventory. Zanya's, though, Huni, he'll be going over and over with that as he teleports to the top lane, quickly adding pressure as that just comes in. And how do FlyQuest stop this one? Pobelter quickly getting damage. I'm sure he hopes that was one of the champions. What a hit there that he can do now. We were talking about late game Corki wanting to get to this point, and you're not going to get much more than this at level 18.
Absolutely not. These inhibitor is up right now. Bot lane inhibitor will spawn in a minute, but FlyQuest is going to want to engage.
That's a big hit going in. That is a dead WildTurtle. He almost jumps up, but he gets taken down while he's airborne. 3 members, 4 members instantly down. And Clutch just steamroll FlyQuest in their base. The Nexus turrets in their eyes, and playoffs as well as Clutch take down FlyQuest.
And our last week of games is going to be very interesting,
Oh,
Riv.
yeah.
Clutch Gaming moving to 7-9 on the split, but specifically 7-1 versus non-top 4 teams, which is all they are playing against next week. We now have Optic at 8-8, Golden Guardians at 8-8, 100 Thieves at 7-9, and Clutch Gaming at 7-9. And those 4 teams are fighting for 2 playoff spots. So it's going to be good.
Absolutely crazy. And the changes that teams have made to kind of have these things happen this year, Clutch has been able to kind of stay steady with the roster they have put in, bringing Cody Sun back, finding power in that bot lane from him and Vulcan. And we've been saying the rest of the team kind of picking each other up in moments that we're not getting kind of Huni star power or Damonte star power when we've seen that before.
Yeah, and this game in particular was strangely standard by Clutch Gaming. A slow 36.5 minute just grind out of FlyQuest with DPS mid and AD carry, some type of skirmisher top. That's not the assassin we've seen. That's not the Cody Sun throwing Zed into the mid lane. That's not the rumble top that other teams are playing. And I mean, maybe that's some building blocks for next week of Clutch Gaming trying to make a push at this playoff.
That's actually a good pull out. I completely forgot about the Cody Sun game and kind of how much Clutch was flexing. Mostly after we saw, obviously, the G2 playing and what everybody thought Chaos was and what was better. But now the Huni switches, having Cody Sun to do that, definitely a good kind of niche to have going into playoffs, a little thing up your sleeve.
Yeah, and I think sometimes teams can too heavily look at what one team like G2 is doing and say, we have to do that. Right? If you don't have the players, you got to play your own style.
Yep.
I'm going to make a basketball reference. The Atlanta Hawks shot the 3rd most threes in the league.
There you go.
It doesn't make them good because the good teams are shooting a lot of 3-pointers.
I'll make a car reference. If you're good at driving a fast car, I'm not going to be as good at driving that fast car. You know how to do it.
That's true.
There you go. So many references. Do we have anybody else? No, I'm just kidding. To help us put a capper on the LCS games, let's send it over to LCS Cooldown.
Fast car?